So I've seen his evolution, and I just know he's as phony as a $3 bill, and I'm all about real. Even if I don't like somebody, if they're real, I tend to, respect them. But I don't like Glenn Beck because he's a Judas goat meant to take control of the Tea Parties, take control of the libertarian movement that Ron Paul heads, and flush it down the Rupert Murdoch toilet.
Well, I don't mean by flush it down the Rupert Murdoch toilet. He's probably Ron Paul's biggest advocate, along with Judge Napolitano here at Fox News. They seem to be appealing to a lot of the very same people who support Ron Paul.
But see, that's how, I think Napolitano's for real. So I like.
Oh, he is. He's a true libertarian.
No, I mean, he's actually against the torture. He's actually against the war.
Correct.
He never changes.
Against the Patriot Act.
But not Glenn Beck. I've seen Glenn Beck. He said, okay, this is why I don't like Glenn Beck. I want to quit talking about him because I want to talk to Alan Colmes. But Alan, I have video clips, we played them here, where he said the banker bailout is good, we must have it or it's all over. Then he came back 3 months later and said, I was against the bailout. He comes out and says he's for the Patriot Act. I mean, he's a flip-flopper.
Well, I honestly have not followed him that closely, so I could not cite for you chapter verse about what he said. But many people see the two of you in the same category in that you seem to view the government in a similar manner.
Well, I want to be clear. If I embraced Glenn Beck and kissed up to him, I could be on his show, and I've had little entrees laid out from neocon organizations to go join them, and I'm not. So I'm not here attacking Beck because I'm jealous of his big TV show, as some people say. I'm attacking Beck because I saw this guy say he was for the banker bailout and then later say he never was. I mean, and there's 100 examples of this. So I believe he's a Benedict Arnold.
Okay, well, I guess we won't see you on his show anytime soon then.
No, you won't
be in the building, but apparently not.
No, you won't see me anywhere near there because I've got to be real. I mean, that's all I got, Alan. Speaking of being real, let's go to the fake left here, and I want your take on this. Chris Matthews, Carlos Watson, people on CNN, Anderson Cooper. I'm sure you've seen this. Everywhere saying, look at the Tea Parties. Look at that woman. That's code for not liking black people. Oh, if you say it's socialism, that's code for racism. No, I mean, even Newsweek said we're all socialists now, that this is a move towards, more collectivism. Isn't that liberal limousine, liberal race pimping to always inject race in to make it a polarizing issue?
No, I don't think saying that Obama is a socialist or we're headed down the road of socialism means you're a racist. I do think among those people, not all of them, but I do think a substantial number of people who've been promoting this birther movement, that he was born in Kenya, he's not really an American, he's black, that he's not one of us. I think among the teabaggers, the Tea Partiers, whatever you call them, there are people who do, there have been racist signs, and there are among those people, there are enough some of them are racist enough to make me uncomfortable, and there are people who don't like the fact that a black guy who they believe was born in another country is president of the United States. If that's not, some of that is racist.
I'm sure you can find a small percentage that are, but most people that are mad at President Obama are mad because he's for the banker bailout, he's for future bailouts, he's for more wars. He's for the Patriot Act now. He's for warrantless wiretapping. And they don't like, he said he was going to balance the budget and cut spending, and he's outdone Bush in his first year.
The stimulus package, of course you're going to spend it before you start closing that gap. He wasn't going to balance the budget in 9 months. He's been president for 9 months. It takes a long time to clear up the mess, the detritus that was left by the previous administration. The idea that he by now should have balanced the budget, it's crazy. It's going to take years to do that, but he's got to move us toward that. The first thing, though, is to spend money to get the economy going again.
Alan, let me go back on this on the issue of, and this is what Matthews and others have said, that it is code for racism to say the word socialism. Let's say 10% of the people that are birthers or Tea Party members, a lot of these are my listeners out there saying, defend our Second Amendment, defend our sovereignty. It's mean to call them teabaggers, and it's a way to demonize them politically, and it's a good throwaway line, and I wish you wouldn't use it, but I know it's too much fun. But at its core, people people are genuinely upset with Obama, and by the mainstream media and the fake liberal media invoking racism, it's creating a lot more racial tension than maybe 10% of anti-Obama people being truly racist. I mean, I think it's wrong. You don't agree that invoking that when someone hears the word socialism, a lot of people believe that. They now think if I speak out against socialism, which really is just corporate corruption, they always steal the money. Even if you're for socialism, it never works because of the corruption. Isn't that invoking all sorts of racial division? Doesn't the left...
I don't think saying socialism indicates racism. I think, as I said, there are some other things that they're going after Obama about that I think indicate racism. The birther stuff.
But I'm saying invoking this, the progressives, the left, always saying people that don't agree with Obama are racist. I'm not saying you're saying that, but that's what some of these other people are saying.
Some of them are, and we've seen more of it. I get more of those calls on my radio show. I get, people calling up with watermelon jokes. I mean, there is some of that going on. Look, if Hillary Clinton had been the nominee, she would be, they'd be doing gender stuff, and there'd be a lot of sexism going on.
Well, no, they would say she's a lesbian.
I mean, there's sexism there. Whenever we break a glass ceiling, whether it's race or sex, there are people going to make jokes, and it's going to be unpleasant.
But you look at Comedy Central, it's full of racial jokes. I mean, we're a lot more crass today than we were. I don't think it's always done because of racist reasons. When you hear a racial or sexist joke, I mean, you go to the comedy clubs, that's all you hear. We'll be right back. It's got the establishment scared. Get your copy for your library. Follow the Republic, detailing how Obama became the first sitting president to violate Article 1, Section 9 of the U.S. Constitution to be the chairman of the UN Security Council. That's only a small part of the film. Infowars.com. Alan, I think the mainstream media on the left and right are destroying their credibility. And they keep denying the world government. They keep denying globalization's taking over. They keep denying what's happening. And I think that the mainstream media's days are numbered. And I think this country is going into revolution. I don't want it to be violent.
No, Alex, come on. That's kind of a hype. That's a very hyper, statement. That's an inflammatory, alarmist kind of statement.
Yes.
We're going into revolution. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that inflames people and gets people all crazy. And I don't know, that's maybe it's your opinion, but there's nothing to really back that up. Come on.
Are you kidding? I mean, how many analysts and forecasters that have been right in the past that we've interviewed from across the political spectrum? And when I say revolution, I mean a political revolution that may entail the Pentagon, in some of their reports, and the British Ministry of Defense believe there are going to be global riots by 2011. They issued that report 3 years ago. I mean, Alan, I know you're a smart guy. You read a lot of mainstream newspapers and stuff, but I read government reports, Alan.
Yeah, well, that's pretty alarmist, Alex, to talk about how there's going to be a revolution. I mean, maybe you've got to define revolution. By revolution, do you mean the end of government as we know it? You mean
yes, I mean, I'm talking about political realignments, depressions, breakdown in some areas of society. I mean, all the analysts we have on say we're really over 20% unemployment, Alan.
Well, that's not the number that's out there. It's 10.2%. You can then add the number of people who aren't even looking anymore. I've not heard the number 20%. Again, this puts you in the alarmist category when you say stuff like that.
Well, I could say the same to you. Again, that's a throwaway line. Let's get real here. You're not saying that, I mean, with your political savvy, that things are getting crazier and crazier and wilder and wilder.
I think the anti-government crowd is getting crazier and crazier. There's a certain level of discontent. There's a big fight on the right. It's going to be the neocons and the crazies way on the right who support the Palins. Or is it going to be sane conservatives like David Brooks, or sane conservatives perhaps like some of our other governors like Pawlenty, who want nothing to do with the far right. Charlie Crist being driven out in Florida by the far right, he's not conservative enough for them.
Well, I'll tell you this.
The battle's on the right.
The old blue blood Republican tennis club type people, it's over for them. And they are the people that have helped bring this country down, Alan. And again, you're saying, the crazy Palin's on the right. She's about as right-wing as Mao Zedong. She can hardly read off a teleprompter. And again, the revolution, Alan, isn't on the right or the left. It's a revolution outside of that control paradigm.
Well, I understand that, but people who call themselves independent, the Tea Party people are clearly, though, on the right. They claim otherwise. They claim, we're not left or right, but they're right. They're people, or probably more libertarian, but leaning right.
Well, no, I agree with you that the largest contingent, since Glenn Beck took it over, is right-wing neocons. Right. But we were there before. We're the real libertarians. See, we want freedom. We don't want a big nanny state. We want to be left alone. And if you don't think the country's going bankrupt and they aren't building FEMA camps and you think I'm being alarmist, let's wait and see.
That's alarmist. That's crazy.
No, it's all admitted. Alan, you know what's going to happen? Everybody's going to see who was right.
Yes, they will. In our lifetime.
And, Alan, you're very good at trying to set the parameters of the debate, but more and more people are waking up.
To the best of my ability.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming on your live 9 to midnight Central across the country with your own syndicated radio show. And I'd like to come on and debate you there. It's always fun.
It's always a pleasure.
And I appreciate you being with us. Take care, Alan Colmes.
Thank you, Alex.
Bye-bye.